Everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of our International SEO series. This week, we're joined by Limor, who is going to be talking to us about Hebrew SEO and SEO in Israel. So, Limor, thank you very much for joining us, and over to you.
Thank you. Great to be here. Hi, everyone. Happy to meet you. I'm Limor. I've been we'll talk to you about international SEO and how to get into Hebrew SEO in Israel. And a little bit about me. As we said, my name is Limor. I've been in SEO for about 20 years. I've worked with tons of businesses and brands and all types of industries. I've been a freelance. I've been in an agency. Now I'm in-house. I love technical SEO. I came from actually server administration and stuff like that, and found out about SEO and fell in love with it. I love large-scale strategies, and also poker, handball, my children, my family. That's a little bit about me.
You must have your handful with twins.
Yes, they're so much fun, though. There are 5. They're beginning to be perfect now.
Oh, I love that age when they start being their little personalities and,
Yes, exactly. So great now. But yeah, at the beginning it was like you had 2 hands full and you can't even scratch your nose. And whole different story. So what I'm going to talk about today is all about search engine share in Israel, the main issues with Hebrew in SEO, about a little bit about Israeli search behavior, and why translating just your US strategy won't work here, and also how to deal with Hebrew in SEO and local SEO. Generally, market share is no surprise. Market share here is mostly for Google. We don't really use a lot of Bing, Yahoo, or any of the others. So that's pretty in line with the rest of the world. The main issues here are, 1, how many languages do we speak in Israel? We have our main language, Hebrew, but we have also a lot of Arabic-speaking people and a lot of Russian-speaking people. We have what we would call also a new audience of Ethiopian-speaking people, which are less relevant maybe for the whole website scene, but they are here, and if you are a brand, you may want to address them. So many Israelis do know English. They do know at least one other language, but many don't. And many don't know it that well, so they would write search queries in Hebrew. Most searches will be done in Hebrew. Older people from Russia will still search in Russian many times. But as an SEO in Israel, you will be mostly optimizing in Hebrew for the Israeli market, and rarely need to deal with Arabic or Russian, or even English is a very, very small part of the whole mix. So with that, we also have multilingual keyboards. Each keyboard has 2-3 languages at least here. So many times the searches themselves, they are done with the wrong language. So you get, you get like a bunch of letters that don't really mean a word because they're in another language, but it becomes so typical that it actually becomes a word in the language. And one of the example I gave here is the leading Israeli news site called Ynet from Yediot, which is the leading paper here. It's the 3rd most searched term in Israel. And if you write it accidentally with Hebrew letters, it becomes something you spell out tamka, which it's not a word. It has nothing to do with news, of course, but not a word at all. But tamka itself has now become so popular with people, they are calling the website when they speak to each other, or when they tweet, or when they write about it, they could just call it tamka, just to avoid switching the letters, because they know everyone understands it. So you need to understand these types of queries, because then you would know how to address just within the Hebrew conversation even.
That must give you lots of insights into kind of like Hebrew slang and what people in Israel use by looking at these keywords.
Yeah, it's so common. these Hebrew English accidents. This is just one example here. And look, it has 100,000 searches in a month in Israel. The wrong keyword, the wrong one. So
wow.
so that's something you might want to tap into when you're coming to the market.
I think this is the first market that I can suggest looking at wrong keywords.
Yeah, looking at the Hebrew things that don't mean words, but you will need someone that understands Hebrew, or maybe Google Translate it would translate something like this into actually Tamka, like I wrote it in English, like in the brackets. Also, we have synonyms. Hebrew is a very, very rich language. We can say the same thing with 3 different sentences, and it will still mean the same. Totally different words can be in this sentence, but the end meaning of it will remain the same. Now, we also have what we call the Israeli melting pot, where people come from all over the world, and then the same word can be pronounced and also then written differently. So that's kind of a challenge that you will need to align with if you're trying to get into the market with Israel. You just need to understand which of the way to say it is the most common way here, and the one that's gotten into the lingua the most. That's the main point. Like one of the both of them are Eastern European examples, but it's a very common Jewish example. Even the difference between Kegel and Kugel, you need to understand that it's the same thing, but people from different countries that came to the same place, they pronounce it differently.
Oh yeah, it kind of just reminds me of like the I don't know, the long time debate between Shabbat and Shabbos.
Yeah, these types of things, exactly. So that's also very common in Hebrew and in lingos of different audiences. So you want to know who you're going to approach and who's in the audience, and then you know how to pronounce that word. We also have another thing in translations, which is phonetic translations, which are also common in, I guess, every country that doesn't use Latin. WhatsApp can be written in 5, 6, 7 different ways, using different letters, different vowels between them. YouTube also can be 1 word, 2 words. So that's also something you just have to acknowledge and align and know to use when you're getting into the Hebrew market. You know when when you're writing, if not in SEO as a brand, when you're sharing content in Israel and you do it in Hebrew, you don't need to write WhatsApp in English. You need to write it in Hebrew within the text. So that can also go through titles of websites and descriptions, and the same. You need to know what your audience looks for the most, and then use it, because we may use any one of these variations. We may use them.
Yeah, I think this is definitely like, do not do your Hebrew keyword translation at home, because it's a bit scary.
Yeah, it's so because you have I don't know, for T you have 2 letters in Hebrew, and for C you also have 2 letters in Hebrew. So we have a lot of room for creativity. So we can decide it's 1 word, it's 2 words. It depends on which letters we use in our phonetic translation, and then we decide if we want to separate that word. Maybe it doesn't, melt together well. So you can have a lot of options within
and I guess not having the vowels as well kind of makes it even more complicated. So you can't just literally just write it down exactly as it is in English.
Yeah, actually, now when you say it, WhatsApp, there's the shortest one here that's 5 letters. It can even be 4 letters if we remove the vowel, the aleph in the middle.
Yep.
So WhatsApp. And yeah, and in Hebrew it works because we don't really need all of the vowels inside. So, yep. That's about phonetic translations. Search behavior. Israelis are very mobile, and usually searches are done with information or intent. It's like, how can I explain it? Israelis are usually doing things on the go, and the feeling here is that you don't have a lot of time to get things done. You need to move forward and get things done. So Israelis don't use a lot of long tails. Most Israeli Hebrew queries will be pretty short. A lot of times we don't, unlike in English, where you would write actually a sentence, a query, a question. People almost don't do this in Hebrew. They write the 3 words they need that are part of that sentence and think, yeah, that will get me results. Just like when you do keyword research and you find a term that is 3 words, but the words don't really connect. So Israelis search like that.
It's clever though. I get it. There's not enough time for spending time on Googling.
Yeah, we don't spend time on the writing. We say this, and this. Let's see what we get. And then we will get into the page. And when we get into that website that we chose, we would like to be spoken to directly. Like, don't, go beat around the bush and speak high, or, we need to understand your point. And then we may continue to move through the website. Like, as I said here, Israelis do spend more time on page on average than Americans, but they go through less pages. So they won't like search everywhere. We don't have the time for that. Let's go. What I wanted, is it here or is it not? Let me know. How can you help me? Can't help me. No hard feelings. Bye. So
like it.
That's kind of the state of mind for most people in the Israeli audience. As said, we are very interested in news and streaming, in what's happening now, and you may be able to understand it like in context of the last few days. We need to be up to date. We need to know that we know everything, that we have checked, that we have compared. We need to feel that that we're in the know, as I said. And as a business, if you can make Israelis feel like you're helping them hack life, you will get their trust and they will buy. It's like if they think you taught them like a little trick that now will help them save time or get more info or get better price or whatever. That's it. Now they like you. You've like proven yourself. Yeah, it can be very easy because each brand can do it in its own small way. Like in SEO, we say you want to give value to the client with your content. So we just needed to be like straight up value, not.
No, I like that as well because I know that lots of, for example, English-speaking strategies or lots of English-speaking content is very much about we help people do this, and it's not clear what they do. It's kind of roundabout. And if you did that, for example, say in certain Eastern European countries, in Israel, it just doesn't work because they want to know directly what you do.
Yeah, and when you go around and around, and you lose trust.
Oh yeah.
They don't really trust you anymore because, okay, what are you hiding now? Why aren't you telling me what you're doing?
Oh so, yeah, I've left websites before because they don't make sense, because I was like, that's great, but what do you do?
Yeah, exactly. So with us, it's very important. However, in e-commerce, we like shopping online. We really like shopping online. But we don't, as I said, we are more of a short tail kind of people. So we don't look for price or compare or review that much if we look at the most searched terms. But basically, you will need what we search for are just the product itself, mostly, or two products without the word compare in the middle, as said. So what you will need in Israel is to fight as a new brand, you will need to find the aggregator website, the price comparison website, the website that actually aggregate all the products from all over the web and present them, because they are the ones that are now winning for the product, the single product search usually. So that will be the most challenging thing in e-commerce for getting into Israel. So many of the brands getting into Israel actually have partnerships and cooperation with such websites in order to be on both places. And then as an SEO, you will sometimes, depends on the website, you will get a chance to somehow control the content on the aggregator website, what kind of data they pull and how they pull it, and then perhaps you can, leverage the two assets.
Interesting.
Yes, that's something when I worked in McCann, we did it sometimes, and if you manage to keep everything in line and not cannibalize one of each other, then basically you can gain from both worlds. So for e-commerce SEO, it's very recommended to update offers in your titles and meta descriptions. The insurance 30% off for 3 months. Go ahead and put it in the titles. It actually works. Been tested and true. Specifically in insurance, it's like a price competition. I think in SERP, everyone now has the offer, the month offer in the title. You can also use the description to get people to click. But yeah, they do great work in increasing clicks and getting you, even when you're not number one, then you're getting clicks because they see your offer and they may like it more. So
that's so simple, but can be so effective.
Yeah, that's something we used to do a lot back in the days.
Nice.
Now, the tech industries, that's back to English mostly, because the tech industry has less available info in Hebrew that's in depth. So when it comes to the tech industry, you get back to English SEO. I don't think there's a lot of difference from your US maybe strategy. It's not that they don't search at all in Hebrew. It's that if you can divide it. The more junior beginner types, they may search things that are more in Hebrew and trying to find information. But as you get to the more experienced professionals in the industry, or the more experienced people, then you will see less and less Hebrew searches, because we are still a small market, and the volume of information available in Hebrew is too small for you to move on. So both content and product comparison and anything basically will be done in English, because most of the market information and products exist in English.
That's interesting, because I see that in Europe quite a bit as well, that a lot of the tech terms and also medical terms as well are often left in English.
Yeah, medical terms. Yeah, you also Latin is they hardly change there or anything. So that's about the tech industries. But what we can do is put FAQs and Q&A pages, and maybe like a support center if you are a SaaS company that is in Hebrew. And then for those juniors looking for guides, definitions, and things like that, then you may come up, and then they will adopt you as an early technologist, early professional.
That's a great way of looking at it.
So why translating US strategy doesn't work? First of all, there's the left to right, right to left thing. Words and sentences don't really add up the same. Now, we have what you call incorrect translation in terms of the meaning of the sentence. Because again, if you translate too directly, too much in correlation maybe with the English keywords, and don't look at the actual meaning of the sentence that you wrote with them, then you may find you're saying something completely different than you thought by making a small change. And also, since we have so many synonyms and ways to say things, that there is often more than one way to translate a term. So you can choose translation with low search volumes instead of translation with high search volumes that will give you more traffic. That's the main thing that I'm seeing from brands that are trying to get into Hebrew SEO. And it's something that can make or break your entire activity because, again, if an Israeli came into your website and saw you not really understanding what you're talking about or what you're selling, or he doesn't understand what the value in it is, then you've made a bad impression. And that might be very hard to recover from here. Also because it's a very fast-paced environment and things change, and you may be also just lost in translation if you don't really look at the meaning of the things that you write on the website in Hebrew. Yes, as said, talk in the air. We don't like beat around the bush here. We need to be talked to directly and clearly. I think I've spoken about this quite enough. And the fourth one is not link building. Israel is still a place where link building works. Since we are, again, a small market, we can influence, let's say, we can influence knowingly with links from websites that are high quality websites to our pages. It's also been done and proven. And again, since the website pool that we have in Hebrew itself is pretty small, let's just say that Google's proportions might be a little distorted because we have very few websites here that are very big, huge, and then a lot of smallish websites. And I think that kind of makes a big leverage, because when you can put one link on one of the big websites, and the next day or two you see, boom, you're number one. So here in Hebrew, not in English, but in Hebrew, it's very clear that you can work with link building for your pages.
That's really interesting, because I think internationally as well, people forget so often that link building is something that they have to do, especially in different languages. It's not a case of ignoring it.
Yeah. In the US, it's a little bit different. There's a much larger pool and also a lot of stricter, I guess, looking over from Google. But where small countries that the available recommending websites pool is small, you will have more leverage with links. I think that's the main logic here. So coming with the US strategy of we don't build links because we don't do it, it's a shame here, because it can really accelerate your time to traffic, time to having customers, and so on when you're entering the market. I highly recommend it.
Definitely. And for user experience as well, it's good because people want Hebrew links on a Hebrew website. They don't want American links going to a Hebrew website, or vice versa.
Exactly. It doesn't make sense for me to link from an English website to the Hebrew site.
Yeah.
But, yep. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. Now, the way to deal with Hebrew SEO is, like we talked about it before we started this session, make sure you do the research correctly. You need to choose the right keywords and know that they have the right meaning with the higher search volume and not the lower search volume, because this will make or break your efforts. You need to know the meaning is correct and the content that you write makes sense as a whole, as the entire, whether it's long form, whether it's a product page with a few sentences. You need to make sure that the message itself makes sense, because it's not only translating the word. Now, I really do advise having a local contact that can help you with all the lingo issues and how is the market speaking, and where should we put the links, or which audience do you think your product will speak to the most, and things like that. I myself, when I do international activities, I use local connections, because I know that I can set up the strategy and I can give them the base of what I want to accomplish, but actually knowing the exact lingo for an industry that I may not be an expert in, and may not be an expert in Japanese even more. So I might want a local contact there. I really recommend it for Hebrew as well. That can give you a lot of value, and they can help you get better results from your website, and they can also help you not make mistakes with the Hebrew and Israeli audience. So
no, I totally agree with you. Couldn't agree more that you need somebody locally who understands it, not just somebody who speaks Hebrew but doesn't, live there, doesn't live, breathe it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I don't want someone who speaks Japanese that lives in Israel. I want someone who speaks Japanese lives in Japan. Exactly. So I highly recommend it for here as well. Really. As I said, talk to the point. If you straight up tell us what you want and what's the value you're giving, how you're helping our lives be better, we will like you a lot more. We will tell our friends about you. Israelis are a lot about recommending, a lot about mouth to mouth, a lot about comparing. What did you buy? What did you do? Where did you get it? So having the Israeli customer on your side by trusting you and saying, yeah, okay, I know what he says. I know what he gives me. I see that that's what he gives me when I look here and here. That can give you, again, a lot of value here in the Israeli market. Build backlinks. Yes. Use outreach and PR and content marketing campaigns. I'm saying all of these three since I come from an agency and I'm used to those being carried out by different departments. But I'm saying again that here there's a very small pool of websites. So any link from any content marketing campaign or PR, whatever department in your organization is able to get links from any other website, they will help do it. Whether it's you from SEO, whether it's your PR, whether it's your content or anyone. If you need a budget for it, set aside a budget. It will really help you boost your rankings and get your traffic and get your brand awareness. We are not recommending buying links, of course, it's prohibited. But sometimes you need some budget to get things moving, and in Israel, again, it works. Before I wrap it up, I just remember one last thing, images. There are audiences in Israel that don't like images that are against, let's say, religion values. So you won't find pigs in images here. You will find, in some cases, you need to know when to use women and when to use men in images. And that's another very important thing a local SEO or local contact can help you with, not offending anyone with your content and campaigns.
Oh, I think that's the same with especially countries that have religions that are very different to you. Learn about it, ask somebody, because what you think could be completely innocent, like, I don't know, using a picture of Peppa Pig or something, can be very, very different somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. So that's very important to note here as well. Then that's it from me. Thank
you so much. I think that was absolutely fascinating, and thank you for sharing your knowledge with us.
Great. I'm glad to help. If anyone has any questions, my LinkedIn is here. Feel free to reach out. Thank you for having me. It was great